Please subscribe my channel. My wife called me on speakerphone while she was sitting with her friends. I didn't know that at first. All I heard was her voice, sharp and confident, the kind she used when she wanted to sound untouchable. She said, "I'm finalizing the divorce today." Then there was laughter. Not nervous laughter. Not awkward silence. Real laughter. The kind that assumes the ending is already written. I stayed quiet for a moment, long enough for her to think I had nothing to say. 3 years earlier she hadn't spoken like that. Back then her voice was softer, uncertain, always checking if I was still there. We were not perfect, but we were steady. At least that's what I believed. I worked long hours, came home tired, and trusted that loyalty didn't need constant supervision. I thought respect was built over time, not tested daily. I was wrong about one of those things. The cracks didn't arrive dramatically. They slipped in through small comments, delayed replies, and a distance that couldn't be blamed on work or stress forever. She started spending more time with friends I barely knew. Her phone became something she angled away from me. When I asked, she said I was imagining things. I accepted that answer because it was easier than questioning my own marriage. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in my car outside my office, finishing paperwork before heading home. Her name flashed on the screen. I answered without hesitation. That's when she made the announcement, clear and rehearsed, like she had practiced the words in advance. "I'm finalizing the divorce," she said again, louder this time, as if clarity required volume. Someone in the background clapped. I realized then that I wasn't just being informed. I was being performed for. I was the punchline of a story she was telling in real time. Her friends weren't laughing at the divorce. They were laughing at me. At the idea that I might be shocked, hurt, or desperate enough to beg. They expected a reaction they could retell later. I didn't give them one. Instead, I asked a question. I kept my voice even, almost polite. "Before you finalize anything," I said, "can you tell them why?" The laughter faded. Not completely, but enough. There was a pause long enough for the silence to feel heavy. She hadn't prepared for that part. The story she planned didn't include details. She tried to answer anyway. She said we had grown apart. She said I wasn't present enough. She said she felt lonely even when I was in the room. These were safe reasons. Familiar ones. The kind people nod along to without asking follow-up questions. I let her finish. Then I asked another question. "Do they know about the messages?" I asked. This time the silence was complete. No laughter. No movement. Just the sound of her breathing changing. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't accused her directly. I didn't need to. The shift in the room told me everything. Someone muttered something I couldn't make out. A chair scraped against the floor. She asked me what I was talking about. I told her exactly what I meant. The late-night conversations. The weekend trips she said were work-related. The name that kept appearing and disappearing from her phone. I didn't sound angry. I sounded factual. That was the part she couldn't control. Anger can be dismissed. Facts linger. One of her friends whispered, "Is that true?" I didn't hear it clearly, but I heard enough. That question wasn't meant for me. It was meant for her. She didn't answer it. Instead, she told me we would discuss it privately. She said this wasn't the time. I told her it was the exact time, since she had chosen the audience. I asked my final question. "Are you still finalizing the divorce?" I said, "or were you just finalizing the story?" No one laughed this time. The call ended shortly after that. She hung up without another word. I sat in my car for a long moment, not feeling victorious, not feeling broken either. Just clear. Later that night, messages started coming in. Not from her. From people I didn't know well, asking if we could talk, saying they hadn't known, saying they were sorry. I didn't reply. I didn't need to correct anyone's opinion. The truth had already done its work. She came home late. She didn't argue. She didn't accuse. She packed a bag quietly and left. The divorce did happen eventually, but not the way she announced it. Not as a joke. Not as entertainment. It became a private, uncomfortable process, stripped of applause. What I learned that day was simple. Some people mistake public confidence for power. They think volume replaces substance and laughter replaces truth. I didn't win anything by staying calm. I just refused to lose myself by reacting the way they expected. And sometimes that's enough. In the weeks that followed, I replayed that moment more than I wanted to admit. Not because I wished I had said more, but because I realized how close I had been to saying the wrong things. If I had raised my voice, they would have remembered my anger. If I had begged, they would have remembered my weakness. Silence, paired with the right questions, gave them nothing to mock and everything to reconsider. People often think strength looks loud. They confuse control with domination and honesty with cruelty. What they don't see is how much restraint it takes to remain steady when you're being underestimated in public. That afternoon taught me that dignity doesn't announce itself. It waits, listens, and speaks only when the room is ready to hear it. I didn't walk away feeling proud. I walked away feeling intact. And for the first time in a long while, that was enough. That clarity stayed with me, long after the laughter faded, reminding me who I chose to become.